Today we're going to talk about something that's always been a mystery to traders. Why is it that some traders seem to get lucky all of the time and see multiple opportunities in the market, while others can never seem to make a consistent profit? Whether you're a seasoned pro trader or you're just starting out, you've probably wondered about this at some point. Well, we're going to dive into the factors that really matter when it comes to trading success. Have you ever asked yourself, why is it that you can be consistently profitable with a demo, but as soon as you come to a live account, you can't seem to stay consistent? Why is it that sometimes when you're trading, you have clarity when you're doing your analysis, and other times you're simply met with confusion? Why do you always find yourself revenge trading or over trading when you know you shouldn't? Why do you become overly impatient when trading? Why are you stuck in fear and anxiety when you trade, whether that's being frozen with fear when a trade is not going in the anticipated direction, or irrationally entering trades out of fear of missing out, while others don't seem to be making such bad decisions and can either sit on their hands when it's time to do so, or simply seem to get in at the right time? There are three major pillars that you need to take care of before you can be a consistently profitable trader. 1. A system, including technical analysis, rules, and risk management. Fortunately, you've found IPDAX, and this part of the equation is accounted for. 2. The ability to take action. This is part of the reason that you're here. You're an action taker. Half your luck. 3. This pillar is awareness, which covers all of the psychology aspects that will allow you to have an ideal mindset and be in the optimal state for success. This includes emotional intelligence, emotional regulation skills, the right self-talk or internal dialogue, and having the tools to handle hiccups as they arise. It's all about having the awareness to identify issues as they arise, and now that they've been identified, you can take the steps to generate behavioral change and make a rapid transformation. One of the first parts of awareness is keeping a journal. This is important for you to track how your technical analysis is working, what's working versus what is not working, and where you can make improvements. This is equally important with your mental and emotional state too. Keeping track of how you're feeling during the week and day to day, but also keeping track of your mental and emotional state prior to each trading session, along with after the session. How are you feeling about your performance, whether that was positive or negative? The funny thing about this mode of work is many people have resistance to it, which is counterintuitive because it may be of equal or greater importance than the technical aspects, depending on your stage of development. It definitely becomes more important the further along the path you are on your trading journey. There will come a time that you actually know all you need to know about your system, analysis, and risk management. But when it comes to your psyche, it's constantly evolving. And there are so many external factors and stresses in day-to-day life that can influence both your mental and emotional state and therefore your performance. You may or may not have resistance to self-work in the realm of psychology. If you do feel there may have been some resistance in the past, know that your desire to achieve your end goal and your chief aim outweighs any resistance to not handle any psychological blocks that have prevented you from being the best trader you can. It's an extremely common part of the human condition to get stuck in what I call the grey zone. This is a common reason why people resist making change regarding their own mental and physical health. You may know people with really poor health that need to make a change, but they don't for some strange reason. Or others that are in jobs that they absolutely hate. And again, for some strange reason, they stay at that job, hating every moment and making themselves miserable each day. One way of looking at this type of condition is calling it self-sabotage, or another is simply calling it the grey zone. The grey zone is, I know where I am right now really sucks, and as horrible as it is, even though I know it's horrible, it's a known quantity. So, rather than making a change, a person stays where they are because the known element is more comfortable than the unknown. This might sound strange, but it's actually one of the most common phenomena I see working with clients that get in the way of their own success. Even if you don't resonate with it, I'm sure you know someone in your life that is analogous to one of the examples I presented. Or maybe you can identify how you're allowing yourself to be stuck in the grey zone in some area of your life. Perhaps this is part of the reason that you have not taken action on getting in charge of your psychology before now. One of the most important keys to awareness and making big change in your psychology is knowing how your mind works. Once you do, this is the entering wedge of your mind working for you rather than against you. An extremely powerful and succinct way to gain an understanding is the NLP communications model. Now, looking at the diagram, you can see our little man here, and what we've got is an external event. That event comes in from the outside world, and it goes into his head, and it filters that information in some way. And the filters do a process. Now, the filters do a job of deleting, distorting, and generalizing, and they filter our experience of time, space, matter, and energy. Our language, the language we speak, and those of you that are multilingual know that when you're thinking in a different language, the word is in a different place. Memories and decisions also filter our external experience, along with our meta-programs, our values, our beliefs, and attitudes. Those all filter the external experience. And then that experience comes inside and we make an internal representation. That internal representation is intimately coupled with the state, and that state is intimately coupled with the physiology, which you'll notice leads to behavior. From now on, I'd like you to begin to notice the kinds of words that you use and the kinds of words that people around you use. Along with that, I'd like you to begin to notice what's the internal representation that you're making inside of your head. I'd like you to think about what it is as far as the order and sequence of those internal representations. Now, I'm not really talking about positive thinking either. 40 years ago, they did a study on major industrial accidents in the United States, and they found that there was a poster on the wall. In the majority of the cases, they told a person what not to do. You've probably seen those old posters. The one that I have in my mind is one of my favorites because it's such a great demonstration. It's a guy with a banana peel and he's slipping on the banana peel. He's going up in the air and falling backwards, and underneath in big letters it says, "Don't slip." Now, I think it makes a lot of sense to tell people what to do, but I'm not sure if it makes a lot of sense to tell people what not to do. And the reason is because your mind can't process negations directly. For example, if I was to tell you, don't think of a blue tree, just for a minute, stop and notice what happens. If I say to you, don't think of a blue tree, what are you thinking of? Probably you're thinking of a blue tree. Because your mind can't process negations, You can't not do that. So as you consider the journey you've embarked upon, I'd like you to now start thinking about your internal representations and what it is you're holding in your mind at any given time. This is the basis of creating change, powerful personal change within yourself. The internal representations that are here on the left-hand side of the diagram. Notice it's impossible to hold a negative in consciousness directly. Now, if I were to say to you, don't think of a blue tree, you might think of a blue tree and then think to yourself, oh no, I'm not supposed to think of a blue tree. So you might think of a green tree. That's one possibility. It might be a two-step process where you think about what you don't want to think about, then you think about what you do want to think about. Just think about that for a moment and realize it's not possible to think about what you don't want to think about without thinking about it first. Now, here's the thing. Your nervous system, the human body, and the human nervous system is an exquisite device. You've been given a device that's so effective for producing behavior, but the behavior that is produced depends upon the internal representation that you make. And if you're making an internal representation that is about what you don't want, then you're likely to produce that behavior. That behavior that you don't want. Think about your kids, for example. Speaking to your kid and saying to him, don't go and play out on the street. Or maybe you're having some guests over for dinner and you have some snacks out on the table and you say, don't eat those snacks. And they'll say, okay, no worries, and they'll grab some snacks. Because you've put something in his mind that perhaps wasn't even there in the first place. Now, ultimately, this is all about producing results. What is the internal representation that I'm holding in my mind? Often without being consciously aware, we're making internal representations that we don't want. And as we bring those to conscious awareness, we gain so much power and control over the outcomes we create. Taking all of this into consideration, if you have unresolved negative emotions and limiting beliefs, you're going to view your reality through the lens of these beliefs and actualize unwanted behaviors. Now that you understand this model, we can essentially say that all of the issues that you're having in your trading performance outside of your system and technical analysis are to do with negative emotions, limiting beliefs, your values, your attitudes, and your internal state. As all of these lead to your behaviors. You can think of unwanted beliefs or limiting beliefs almost like crossed wires or bugs in the software of the mind. They are actually programs with bugs. If you keep this model in mind, human beings cannot actually see beyond their own beliefs. So you view your reality through the lens of those beliefs. Now, if you have beliefs such as, I'm impatient when I trade, or I get confused every time I do analysis, or I can't stay out of trades, I seem to always overtrade, or I have fear of success, or I just keep running into the same issues, or I can win on a demo, but as soon as I go to live, I can't seem to be consistently profitable. And the list goes on. If you are running any of these programs and you can't see beyond them, you view your reality through the lens of the beliefs, and then they become self-fulfilling prophecies. They're both self-fulfilling and self-perpetuating. So, no matter how hard you try, until you rewrite the neurology and install new programs, you will continue to get the same results. Through mental rehearsal and neurological repatterning, a regular meditation practice, and letting go of negative emotions, all of these issues can be rapidly resolved. The classic question in the NLP and psychotherapy world is, who's driving the bus? The bus referring to your mind that leads to your behaviors. If you're lacking awareness and without any conscious intervention, Your unwanted beliefs and unresolved negative emotions are essentially in control of you. When you practice awareness and decide to make a change, you can become the driver of the bus and rapidly get in charge of your behaviors and in turn your results. The big takeaway is you can certainly get in charge of unwanted habits and behaviors and go beyond anything that may be mentally or emotionally holding you back with the right guidance and expertise to assist you to get there. If you're looking for any assistance to get from where you are to where you want to be, you can reach out to me directly at contact@ipdapsyche.com or connect with me on Instagram at ipdapsyche. Thanks for joining me. Catch you on the other side.